it too. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneurs podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro for anyone that's out there. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Justin Bizzarro or at Justin the Food Entrepreneurs podcast. We're doing pretty well, guys. We are releasing an episode a day right now. It looks like that will continue. We're doing 9-ish episodes in New York City on location between between Christmas and New Year's. Crunch them together, and then they'll release over 9 days. So that's kind of pretty excited. There's some young entrepreneurs up in New York City that are rallying and putting together something pretty cool for all of this and us to do a highlight there. And I hope to be able to do this in other cities. But that being said, first I got to run a test pilot and see how this one goes, see how it is to be mobile and actually go to a city and actually set up a show and bring in a group of entrepreneurs and record a bunch. So that's kind of cool. So that being said, I have Sam back. How are you doing, Sam, from Roll 'em Up Taquitos? How are you doing?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm humbled, excited. We had a great time doing this last time around. It definitely added value to my life, and my wife and I listened to it. Super excited to be back on, and again, super humbled. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something to the audience. One of the things that I find, musicians probably find this as well, is when you first start something, like when I first did the podcast, I could not listen to them. Like my voice, like I was hypercritical of myself, and it took time, and then I started listening to himself, and then I got really down in the dumps like for a period of time, and I'm like, I'm already down, let's just get this over with and listen to all of them. Centurion Leadership Battalion, Justin the Food Entrepreneurs over the last couple months ago before I relaunched them, and let's criticize it and let's look at it and how I can build it, and as I start, how I can do a better job. So that's really, I wanted it to be a project or an experience in the first place, like for the entrepreneurs, because I'm literally building the plane still as I'm flying it 4 years later. I'm still like, okay, what are we going to do with this thing? How do we get it to market? What does it really mean? And what does it really mean to leave a lasting legacy and impact with what we're trying to do here with you guys? So one of the things I loved about interviewing you, Sam, is you left such a big impact on me. And just so everyone knows, I use Sam's episode when I'm pushing the episode on Instagram, when I'm trying to find people to come on the podcast, or feeling the right energy, or someone says, hey, you should check out blah, blah, blah. I use it as an anchoring point. And the reason I use it as an anchoring point is because there's not many episodes that I can say that truly encapsulate what we're trying to do here, from the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey all the way to the end, and the experience, whether you're on your own or you're getting it from the entrepreneurs who are investing back in you. It's important. So I tell the story from me, 18 years old, and then 22, and then 25, and these leaps that I did as a business because of the constructs of the business I was in, or me dodging the shitty economies at the time. But what Sam did is he learned from the great entrepreneurs and really started became a great entrepreneur himself, which is one of my anchoring points in food. I always talk about Dave Thomas and Colonel Sanders, because of Colonel Sanders investing in Dave Thomas and Thomas building this chain. And now we have here, realistically, Sam doing that. So we're going to get started. I'm going to ask Sam a few questions. We're running a little behind. We're actually recording on my birthday, so happy birthday to me, even though this episode will release later. So I've thrown off the schedule a little bit based on having a doctor's appointment beforehand. So Sam's been nice. He's made it available for us, so I want to get him started. So Sam, I'm going to get right into the questions. And we asked some of these before, and we got into them, but some of them I think we can talk about more because we were having such great energy off the call. So we talked a little bit about this. As a highly effective person, and what I would call, if I were in trouble, and I recommended this already, I put Sam in contact with other entrepreneurs that are trying to figure out how to unlock their potential or how to make those next steps. And I have a lot of that experience, but Sam also has a whole lifetime of just pushing franchisees are pushing businesses into that model. And so you've left a big impact on me, and I've obviously recommended him, like, Sam, this is a guy, and Sam's background and coming to America and living the American dream. We know there's a bunch of podcasts that I've been on. I think we released a third one today where I highlight the American dream, today being December 20th when we recorded. And I think it's just huge what you've done. So let's talk about how do you live your day, making sure that you can deliver the best energy and making sure that you don't take away from the people around you and you're giving constantly. I guess servant leadership would be a good term.
Yeah, I think, somebody along the way, I believe his name's Tommy Van Wolf, he said he's a regional vice president for Raising Cane's. He talked about when you go into whatever place, do you add value or do you actually drain it of the value that the place had before you got there? Who are you? And obviously what he was trying to share with me and make sure was that whatever place I walk into, that I left it better than when I first got there, that you had value through your energy. This is an individual that he walks into a room, he lights it up, and Tommy's there. And these type of individuals, right, that I look up to, I reference them as they're a blessing, and they're also a curse. And they're a blessing
Always.
Because you have them in your life, and they teach you some great things, and they teach you not through word, but through actions, right? So I saw him do this everywhere he went. He added value. There was an excitement. There was also a level of you have to raise your expectations. Yeah. And I absolutely love working with him. And he made me feel, like, hey, tell us how we can do this better. He didn't have all the answers, right? He asked us and made us feel like we were part of the decision-making process. But along the way, he really he had huge expectations. It was never good enough. And he always wanted more. But at the same time, he had huge expectations of himself, and he came in with such an energy that I told myself, like, this is absolute blessing that I'm working with him. Once we no longer work together, if you don't take everything that you got from these great leaders and do something with it, it actually becomes a curse, because you're like, man, I need this person in my life. I need this. I need this. No, they were in your life for a reason. What did you take from them? What did you learn from them? And how did they make you a better person, better leader? And now, how can you multiply this, right? The biggest, I think, the biggest way that you can share the teachings of great leaders is going out there and now multiplying and going, I learned this from this individual. I learned this from this leader. Now it is my job, my responsibility, obligation to go out there and multiply that. And that's what that was something that I learned from Tommy and from other great leaders I have talked about, that you knew, like, once you got out of your car, everybody is watching you, all eyes on you.
Absolutely.
How you walk, your smile, you could just feel this energy.
Some people call that, they're like, what's up, boss? You hear people call people the boss all the time, but sometimes, and most of the time, actually, they're not the boss. They're the person that just has this. I just want to emphasize this because it is an image. It's a composure. It's a confidence that comes the minute he wakes up in the morning, whoever this is, and he's displaying it. That's why Sam's talking about it. So I love this, Sam. Continue on, please.
And I also want to share that you might have this already, and you might be jacked up when you get out of work, but that doesn't mean that you don't have those times in the car where you question yourself. There's also those times that you're not feeling 100%, and you're not feeling like, man, today's a great day. Like, sometimes you have those things, But as soon as I grab that door handle, right? Before we got on the call, we talked about certain routines that get you in the right mindset, right? For myself, I am extremely blessed, and I'm extremely humbled, and I'm extremely so glad of what God has blessed me with, even the challenges that he continues to bless me with, that makes me a better person. So I can't start off my day, and I won't have a successful day. And look, I'm not trying to get spiritual or anything like that, but you have your whatever it is that you need to refocus your attention on, whether it's meditation or whatever it is. Once you find out, like, hey, today was a pretty successful day. What led to me having a pretty successful day? Was it because I got a great breakfast and I loved it? Was it because I had time to myself? Was it because I read? Was it because I ran? Was it because I drank, a good amount of water to begin with my day? Whatever it is that helped you establish a successful day, multiply that. It would be foolish not to do that, because you've literally found out how you get great results. And for me, it's connecting with something that I feel very, very strong, that has helped me out in my entire life, right? It's, every single time I drink coffee, as I'm putting cream in my coffee, I see the cream rise to the top, and it's just a reminder, Sam, cream always rises to the top, baby, go get it, right? So it's these little things that I say to myself every single day. And I know when you get out of that car, you have a huge impact on other people. And make sure that you come out with the right energy. Make sure that you are learning and growing. Look, we make mistakes, and we're going to learn from those things, and think back of, okay, what could I have done better today to have a more successful day? But I think back on the people that I work with, and my parents, and those are the folks that have really helped me to establish that successful morning routine.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'm going to say it because I can do whatever I want. I guess it's my podcast, my name on it, I guess someone might get me in trouble. But the thing about it is, for me, it is spiritual, but I agree with you. It's about a routine and anchoring yourself first thing in the morning and triggering the right feelings or whatever. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of humans in their relationships, they get all hyped up in the morning with breakfast and the kids and whatever's going on, and tension, and people are stressed, and blah, 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 and then you carry that into work with you. And so there's a separation. But even that, I find, like, I have two stages to it, and we talked about it a little bit, which I've really put into my life now, like, especially, like, I've gone back to some old routines that I hadn't used in like years, that literally balance me out and help me with my success. And I would say it's almost like a slingshot or being shot out of a cannon. The first is, like, and we talked about this, and the drinking of water, the gallon of water a day, like, I chug my first fifth by the time my feet hit the floor. That was suggested to me to just get the first one out of the way first thing in the morning. Like, so it's like, okay, I do that for my gallon of water if I'm on 75 part. The second part is I drop to my knees immediately and I pray. And it's not for a short period of time. If anyone's heard the podcast, like, I'm like Santa Claus with my list of people I pray for. And I do not ask for anything for myself. I pray to God for everyone else. I pray to the people that I love that are no longer here. I pray for everyone to watch over, and I pray for my will to align with God's will. And even though I want certain things, I don't want them if it doesn't align. So help me figure out what I actually need and what aligns and what doesn't. And for some reason, it puts me in a check. The second part is if anyone looks at the post I did today for my birthday, there's 5 things on there I talk about that are instilled in me from the day I was born. Okay. And if I steer away from them, then I get off balance. That's, first is an athlete or a warrior. The second is a servant leader. The third is a protector. The fourth is a farmer. And the fifth is an entrepreneur. Okay. You can go to the post and look at it. I don't want to take away time from Sam, but those are all things that I balance out and I think about them in the morning. And if I start to get off balance, okay, like, I can pray, or I can have a conversation real quick with God and be like, okay, what's my purpose here? And we talked about on the podcast before, Sam and I talked about it also before this, that I have a tattoo on my hand that's a honeybee. And it's because I am constantly reminding myself to pollinate the world positively. That's what I was born to do as an entrepreneur. I've been saying it to myself literally since I can remember. Like, I just have this feeling like I'm supposed to pollinate the world positively. Like, I just need to do this and whatever I do. And it's important that we find that, because that's where we feel the best about ourselves. That's where we have the most joy. And when we find that calling in who we are, one of mine's human growth and growing those around me, is that we do have a better connection with God and spirituality, or whatever it is our higher power is. I have God. You may have a different higher power or different God or set of gods. I don't know or know God. But there has to be some belief and hope. And for me, it's that. Okay, I don't know how else to put it. I can't fathom it going any other way, because there's this weird thing that happens is when I really align that, miracles happen. If I align that, I keep showing up, meaning I believe that if I keep aligning, something's going to happen, an opportunity is going to happen. It does. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to tell you guys. A miracle happens every time, even if I'm coming out of the worst situation. So, Sam, let's talk about some more things. How do you then go into your businesses and instill this in the employees or the franchisees? Like, okay, I'm going to try not to use as much commentary. I really want to say, okay, you learn this from them. So now how do you take this skill set and you go into your franchisees, because you have a lot of them now. You guys are building them out. You're starting to move across the South United States. Like, how do you take that energy you learned all these years or from your mentors and entrepreneurs, and now that you've charged yourself in the morning with, and give it to everyone?
I think first off is you've got to be this consistent individual, that it's not a one-time deal, that it's not, every so often. It's every single time you go out there, you have to set that example. And one of the things that we've learned at Roll 'em Up is, we are the gatekeepers of who we bring into our company, and we want to make sure this is a strength of theirs. So what we're looking in our possible franchisee, they need to already come with that already. It is not our job to make sure that they have this with them. We'll do a great job of being the example and making sure that this is part of our DNA and our culture at the company. We're a fun group. We're energetic. We have drive. We have that in our DNA. So we need to make sure that as we're sitting down real soon here, we're going to be meeting with a possible franchisee this afternoon. And that's the reason why we have to, we don't have that much time today. But when we sit down with this individual, they have to have that with them. Because if they have that with them, we are going to be a great team. But if they don't, it's like a virus that's going to come into your body. Your body's going to reject it. So we are looking for people that already have it. That's who they are. They just happen to find another friend in the business, and all of a sudden now we're not friends in the business, we're partners in the business. We're looking for those type of individuals, and we'll keep looking and searching. I believe, one of the things that I think about is you don't have to be a great motivator. You just have to make sure that you're not a demotivator. And so I want to make sure that we have folks that are already driven. They want to come in here and they want to kick ass, and they want to be great. And they already have that as part of their DNA. And guess what? They found similar people in us, and we were blessed to have them on our team. So I think that's one of the major things is we have to be a great scout in who we're looking out and trying to find, or that they find us. It's a great relationship there, that they already know who we are. So we don't have to really do too much, because they're already driven. They have a passion for helping others. They have a passion for great customer service. They have a passion for cleanliness and for quality. They already stand for that. They just happen to find somebody else out in the world that matches who they are, right? So that's a beauty, is when you find these type of individuals that have the same core values as a company, then it's a sweet spot that we're looking for. So, well,
and according to laws of attraction, right, if you're putting out that energy, it should attract like-minded, similar feeling individuals. At least that's what's true for me.
Yes. Yes. And so that's, I think, one of the great blessings in being able to be here on this podcast with you is that it gives me a platform where like-minded people are going to go, hey, that's me. That's me. I don't need Sam as, a role model or no, that's already me. I'm already driven. I want to do that. And I believe in the product. We have a great product. So, a product, it feels great. There's craveability. You love the product. You want to come back. This is something that you've had Taquitos in your life before, but this one here really hit the spot where it has the craveability, right? Number one. And then you like the team that we're putting together. You respect us. You know what we're focused on doing, something very, very special, where we want to help others and we want to provide this great product. And one of the things that I learned from Todd Graves, right, the owner and founder of Raising Cane's, he taught us that there's a love that is extended when you serve somebody a meal. And he would talk about that he would spend time with his grandma and in the kitchen. And as they were preparing a meal for the family, she was putting so much love into this meal because this meal was going to provide energy and strength and a time to come together. So he put it so eloquently. I hope I'm not butchering it, but Todd Graves talked about that you transfer love through food and you impact others. And you see it sometimes. Sometimes you're in a restaurant and you're eating next to somebody and they start doing this like happy dance when they taste the food, and it's just their body dancing at the taste of the love that's extended through the food, right? And
absolutely. Absolutely.
Energy. That's the type of energy that, like, when I first sat down at Roll 'em Up, that I felt it and I tasted it, and the reggae music was blasting and people were smiling when they were making your food and they looked sharp. And I thought, that's the energy that's transferred from the person that's making you a meal. Like, it is so impactful. We cannot survive without eating. And we have this great responsibility to make sure that we impact people in a way where they're dancing in their seat when they taste a product, when they walk out and they're getting a thank you. Can't wait. Hey, see you back tomorrow, right? So I think there's such a beauty in cooking and putting a meal in front of somebody, right? And I will never forget what Todd Graves talked about. I have such a strong relationship with my grandma. My grandma passed away in 1988. I still carry a chain with the number 88 in my heart. That's my favorite number because I carry her with me in everything that I do. And she was such a phenomenal leader. And that's why I love to work with, great people that have a strong conviction. And when he shared that message about him and his grandma, I loved it. When AJ Kumaran, also the CEO of Raising Cane's, he talked about, I asked him, what's on your desk that you look at every single day? And he talked about he has a receipt with his grandma's name of when he first started working at Raising Cane's, because they take names there, and he wrote his grandma's name, and that's a receipt that's on his desk. And because he wants to make her feel, even though she's no longer here, I don't think she's here, he still wants to make sure that he makes her proud, right? And so that's a huge takeaway for me from what I got from AJ and Todd Graves is doing that.
I have that as well. I have friends that have passed away. One was my best friend from high school. He passed away in Iraq, during the Afghan-Iraq war, however you want to say that. However it was, I guess it was really a conflict technically. But and then I had a good girlfriend from, like, a friend who was a girl from college who was killed by a drunk driver right after she graduated. And so I carry them with me. I'm like, what can I do? I can't take any moment for granted. Like, I have to, one, make the most use of my life, but two, I have to also make the most use of my life in terms of giving to everyone around me, because you never know when it's going to be over, or you might give something to someone that they might give even more to someone else or a group of people. And I think that's what we don't realize. We're so attached to the impact of the person in front of us. We don't think about the waterfall effect, if you will. And that matters in business and culture, and it matters to what you said about picking the individuals. Do they carry the water, and do they dump it and fill other people's buckets as well? I think that's part of what we're talking about. So let's talk about like training employees. How do you instill this philosophy in them? So you recruit them based on this, but how do you instill this in them?
You recruit people, you're watching everything that they're doing as they're coming in, right? As they're coming in for the interview, this is them at their very best. So as they're walking up to you, are they feed draggers? I can't work with feed draggers. It just tells me you're just going to walk a little bit slower, and may God bless your heart, but unfortunately you don't have a space in our team. I need somebody that when they're walking to you, you could just feel that they're coming with, great excitement. Okay. You have to look at all these things here when they're sitting down with you. As they get up, do they put the chair in? Now you're going, do they were they taught right to begin with from their family before they even got to this interview? So it's a lot of, before you even get them into your team, you're watching all these different signs and all these different triggers to see if you have somebody in front of you that is going to make a difference in your company. So I think a lot of that, I can't stress that enough. It's the whole interviewing process. You have to be passionate about interviewing and trying to figure out, in my head, I have to fulfill 4 needs when I'm interviewing somebody. Number one, the customer. Is the customer going to feel like a great comment from a customer, where do you get these people? Where do you find these people? They're so good at what they do, right? So in my mind, when I'm sitting down and I'm interviewing somebody, I want to say, is this person going to make our customers go, can I talk to you, Sam? Where did you find these all-stars? I have to make sure that I'm thinking in the mindset of a customer. Number 2, I want to make sure that our team members are going to say, thank you for adding this person to our team. This person just made us better. AKA, I have to work harder because you brought in a talented individual. We just became better, right? Like a sports team, when you hire somebody as a free agent or a rock star and you go, oh, we just got better, right? When you get these key players and they come into the team and then the rest of your crew goes, we just got better, that's credibility. That's your credibility, right? Number 3, you want to fulfill the needs of the managers of the team, because they're going to have to lead this individual. If this person already comes in and they have just great skill, and then we're going to have to keep working with them and develop them, but they have this great energy that they want to learn and grow and make make the company better. Man, your managers go, thank you. You just made our job that much easier. And then the owners of the business should walk in and go, wow, how did we find this individual? Where did we find this individual? How can we clone this individual? Right? So when and trust me, I absolutely love interviewing. Love it. I have a passion for it. I try to focus my attention on how to get better constantly. What better questions can I ask? And when we do hire, when I or the team unfortunately hires the wrong person and that person no longer is with the team, we ask a ton of questions. What did we learn from that? What were the red flags? What could we find out to make sure that doesn't happen again? I think of one GM, this was absolutely, I did a horrible job in interviewing this individual. And we brought this person onto the team, and they caused so much work for everybody, for payroll, for HR, for the team, for the customers, every which way possible. And I told myself, Sam, wow, you missed it. You missed the boat on this one. And I can't tell you how many people were impacted because of one wrong hire. You're GM, and I hired that individual, and I own that. And I think about that all the time and all the things that we learn from that, right? So you're not going to bat 1,000, right? Nobody does in hiring, but you want to be really, really good at interviewing and learning from your mistakes and learning from the wrong hires and making sure that you know how important it is to make sure you bring on the right people. So I think I can't state that enough. That's a huge one for me, a huge one for all of us. We have classes on how to interview. We go through mock interviewing. It is so important, right? So we talk about that a lot. Let's be very, very careful who we bring on the team, both as a franchisee and also as a frontline worker, a general manager. Holy moly. They're the most important people in the business. Your general manager is the most important people in the business. They impact so many families.
Well, and their attitude and their energy.
And the people that they surround themselves with. It's absolutely critical.
Yeah, and how their energy is and how they deal with the employees or the team members and how they react to things or whether they work late or not or whether they're willing to put in the time. Like, it has such impact. I've had good ones and bad ones. And it's sometimes things happen, but I agree with you on the every once in a while you mess up and you pick the wrong one and it within a very short period of time, and if you don't deal with it in a very short period of time, it is a really bad apple in a bunch for real, because it'll just ruin everyone. And so I agree with you 100%, Sam.
You don't even know how this one GM impacted the life of others. And this individual had poor integrity and in what they did and what they taught their people, and their people were doing some stuff that it's bizarre. And, one of the things that I think about all the time and that I pray about, and you talked about it already, is you want to help others because somebody helped you out. Right. And that's a huge focus, that I ask for every single day, is that help me help others, because I know the impact that people have had in my life that have helped me out tremendously. And I want to. But on the flip side of that, if you hire somebody that all their focus is on money and their focus is on what can I drain from you so I can be better, or what can I drain from you so I take this from you and it's a I kind of deal, right? Man, it's so critical. And trust me, I think about this, let's see, we hired this individual. I put my stamp on that this person was going to be great. I owned it. I 100% own it. This was in 2019. I'm talking about something that happened 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years now. And, man, what a disservice it is when you hire the wrong person, because you impact so many people in a negative way. So I think about that all the time.
I've had it where the negative person stays around a long time and no one picks up on it, or he's a favorite of the manager or the management team, and we don't step in as owners and do the right thing or address the situation, and it sort of gets way off case, and gets out of control, and then the person gets promoted, and then really you have a problem. So
yes.
I think it's really key to address it. So, Sam, as we start to wrap up, I want to give you time to say anything that you need to say.
One of the things that we talked about that really got me excited about this is that we continue to add value around us. I mean, after we got off the call, we talked about why roll them up? What do we see in roll them up? And it's a young, fun brand that we see that where we can, again, provide a great product, but also you see so much growth. You see the growth of like a young In-N-Out, of a young Raising Cane's, of a young Dave's Hot Chicken, where the product is there. And then this product is going to help us open up so many doors and so much future And that's what's really, really exciting about working with a growing brand, is that you're able to help people achieve something in their life that it's so moving. Raising Cane's has this thing called the Camp Casada, right? And it's this super amazing event. I can't share too much about it because it's kind of like a little secret about Raising Cane's. But it is so amazing what I took away from that. And I remember being at this event with all the great leaders of that company, and I was on top of this area where you could see pretty much the whole camp. And they had a couple rocking chairs, and I sat there and I just started kind of reflecting on the moment. And I remember thinking to myself, this has to be something that Todd Graves just absolutely adores. Here, he started this restaurant concept when everybody told him that it would not work. It's just chicken fingers. Are you out of your mind? People laughed at him when he walked into.
I still say it sometimes. I can't believe it's just chicken fingers.
A joke. And this is somebody that worked their butt off and still does to make sure it's a great company. And I'm sitting down in a rocking chair and going like, I wonder if he ever saw this. Did he see this before we all saw it? Right? And what a beautiful thing to see, like how many families he's impacted in such a positive way. They take great care of their people. Great care. People walk around with so much love for that company, for Raising Cane's, and I'm just blessed to have had that in my experience, and just to sit on that rocking chair and look at all these people and this Camp Casada and this unity of great people was so much fun. We had a blast. I will never forget it. It's an experience that I will never forget in my life, that I talk about it a whole lot. And, I know that was something that was put into my life because it is my responsibility to multiply it with our current brand that we have. And I can't wait. You will be at whatever it is that we called our camp or our getaway. You will be there with us, Justin, to experience the moment, because there's a vision out there. I've seen it. I've got a taste of it. And it's like when you taste something so delicious that you're like, I can't wait to taste it again. Todd Graves did that to me. He gave me a little taste, and he said, hey, multiply this. Whether it's with our own company, let's do this again. I can't wait for you to do this again. Or go out there and do it yourself, and know that in Todd Graves, you have somebody that started by working his butt off, making his dream happen. It's such a great, inspiring story to share. And I can't wait for us to have our getaway and whatever it is that we come up with it, our fun name. It was definitely a life-changing moment going to Camp Casada. There's a secrecy. There's so much fun. There's a love that I wish I could share with you guys, but I can't. I have been, I raised my hand up and said, I will not share what happens in Camp Casada. You have to be here. And
I love this because the mystery is part of it. It's like the mystery menu at In-N-Out Burger. It's like the mystery we talked about the other day, and for the mystery woman of the food blog here in Nashville. And those things it's part of the intrigue, but it's also what makes you feel included. Like this mystery person is including me, or there's this mystery event that only the team members get to go to. And I love how all of that works. So thank you everyone for listening in. I'm going to have Sam back on, guys. Sam's an incredible human. Obviously, we have a lot more to discuss, but I wanted to quick record an episode with him while we had some time and just let everyone know. Enjoy the episode, and thank you everyone for listening in. Find us on Spotify or wherever else you grow yourself through podcasts. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.